Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust. Have you ever noticed that people of a certain age, i.e., our age, the early retirees, talk a lot about the fact that time seems to fly? We've just got to the end of our summer holidays, and already we're just asking, where did that time go?
So what we want to do in this video is to share with you how we think that we can slow down that time. Not literally, but just by how we choose to spend our time in early retirement.
It really does sound like quite a strange concept. Can we really change the flow of time? But it's in our human nature that we always feel like time is just flying by and slipping through our hands.
And as we get older, it feels like it's slipping away even quicker. Now, we're going to give a reference out to Chris Williamson and the Modern Wisdom podcast. We watched the podcast on just this topic and it really resonated with us. So we thought we'd put a twist on that and share it with you. What we want to do in this video is to have a look at the concept of time, look at how time changes over the course of our life, and then look at what we can do in our retired and early retired life to slow down that flow of time, because we're never going to get any more of it.
So as we get older, we always talk a lot about the fact that time is speeding up. But here's the truth. Time doesn't change. It's actually only our perception of how time feels like it's going, not actually that time is going quicker.
So we've got these two concepts that we can look at. We've got something called present time, and then we've got our perceived time. Now, when we're talking about present time, we're talking about science. So there are only 24 hours in a day. 24 hours is exactly the same time day after day. 1 second is 1 second, and that aspect doesn't change, but the way that we perceive time changes remarkably, and it's all to do with the amount of memories that we associate with that time. So when we say a week has flown by, what we actually mean is that week has taken up exactly the same amount of time, but we haven't had that many memories that help us recall it and slow it down a little bit.
So I kind of think of it in the way of, think back to a holiday from 5 years ago that you really enjoyed. You can probably remember what you did in the evenings. You can remember lots of details about that holiday. Your memory dividends are saying that was a time we enjoyed. Time went quite slow. If you think to the week after that holiday, you probably can't remember what you did or who you saw or what you ate, but you will remember the details from the holiday.
And the irony is, probably when you were on that holiday, you were saying, oh gosh, this week's going so quick, because you were enjoying it so much. But the fact that you were accruing all of those memories means that actually time has slowed down for you. Chris Williamson talked a lot about how our brain loves novelty, and if we have things that happen in our life that are either novel or intense, we're more likely to remember them than things that are perhaps mundane, routine and ordinary.
So if you think back to your childhood probably felt like it took forever. It felt like you were a child for a long time. And thinking about it, when you're a child, everything is new, everything is novel. Every day you learn something new, you find something new, you explore something new. And those memories are stored away in your mind as all novel things that you've done.
Can we remember as a child looking forward to Christmas? I can remember when the Advent calendar came out on the 1st of December and I was so excited, and it just seemed to take forever to get to Christmas. Whereas as adults, because we're in that mundane life, everything just seems a little bit ordinary and time flies up to Christmas. And I guess that's probably a key message about the difference between childhood and adulthood, the difference between novelty and perhaps maybe a little bit more boring and mundane. We aren't able as adults to have as much excitement as we do when we're children, so we don't lay down as many memories, so therefore time seems to go that little bit quicker.
I think for us, when we decided to early retire, we made quite a conscious decision that we would almost go back to that childhood of finding new things and awe and wonder. We made a conscious decision that we were going to try and explore loads of new things, do things that we've never done before, go to places that we've never done before, trying to make up all those memory dividends that we perhaps haven't got from the middle years when we were working so hard.
And it doesn't have to be anything particularly grand. So in our early retired life, we just try and do something new and something different each day. It might be just as simple as changing the route that we go on our daily walk, or it might be thinking about having a coffee at a different time or a different type of coffee. We all like routine, but sometimes routine is perhaps just a little bit safe and doesn't give us that novelty and excitement. If our days are forgettable, then we will forget them.
So here's the irony. We leave our 9 to 5 jobs so that we can buy ourselves some time. But often we can fall into the trap of filling that time with the sameness. For us, it's things like Richard mentioned earlier, going on the same kind of walk each day. And something that really does irk us is that we tend to cook the same meals all the time. It's much more memorable when we've got all the cookbooks out and we've tried something different. But all too often we go back to the same meals, the same recipes, the same routines.
And I don't think it's because we're being lazy. I just think we're taking we're taking the course of least resistance because it's easy, whereas it's not particularly memorable by doing the same 10 recipes that we call on week in, week out, for instance. I think this comes down to something that I'd like to call the retirement routine paradox, in the fact that by retiring, we've got the ultimate freedom to choose how we spend our time. But what's really important is that we use that choice in a really valuable way. We can choose to do memorable things, or we can choose not to do memorable things. And that's where the paradox comes, because we've got the time to do it. Are we going to choose to do it?
And I know we frequently get to the end of a day and we'll sit and say, what have we actually done today? And we can't quite remember because we've just done it. We've had a really good day. We've enjoyed what we've done, but it's just been part of our normal routine.
Probably the crux of this video then is how on earth do we slow down time? And the way we do that is we give our brains reasons to remember things, and our brain seeks those things out. And probably the best way of making things memorable is either making it novel or making it intense. So how do we make novel memories, Jax?
Oh, wow. I suppose for us, most of our novel memories are probably made through our travels. It's widely shown on the channel that we love to get out and about exploring. This year we've been to so many new places and we have so many really strong and positive memories of all those explorations. There's other things like when we went to Wales this year, we had a go at rock climbing out in the great outdoors and it was absolutely wonderful. I can still remember the day. It was really sunny and clear, but it was really cold as well. I can remember the fear of the heights when I fell off the rock, but obviously I had many ropes to me. But the novelty of that experience is just so clear in my mind.
But we can't always be doing new things because eventually we're going to run out of new things.
And money.
And life is not just a tick list of doing new things, but we can make things much more intense. So perhaps Jackie falling off the rock face was quite intense. It was intense for me at the time, looking at that happening. But there's other situations where you just have those moments of awe and wonder. So there's been so many times this year when we've been up in the mountains and the sun has been rising, or it's been a particular cloud structure, and it's seeking out those really intense moments, those moments that fire you up, make you passionate about life, make you just go wow. And if we're doing those new things and we're experiencing those intense emotions, then we're much more likely to lay down the memories, which therefore is just going to slow our perception of time and mean that we sort of maybe get a richer life as a consequence of just taking notice of those things.
And actually, some of those intense memories, when you were talking there, just made me think, it doesn't always have to be positive memories. So this week, we've got really intense memories that'll stay with us forever because we have sold Richard's family home. 60 years your parents lived there, clearing it out. We've got such vivid, passionate, intense memories. They're sad memories, but they are a part of that perception of that period of time that we've just gone through. I am going to throw a little spanner in the works to Chris Williamson's theory that as you get older, it feels like time's flying, because we do get quite a few messages, and we felt it ourselves at times, that in your early retirement, that life can feel quite boring and you sit there and your days feel really long and you don't know what to do with yourself. There's also that side of time as well.
Yeah, it can sometimes feel that maybe time is stalling a little bit and that time is dragging a little bit because we're finding it difficult to do new things or find novel things to do. And I think what we've tried to do is to just try and find those moments in every single day. It doesn't need to be particularly grand. And I think our vision of early retirement way back in the day was probably that we should be out traveling the world all the time. And that's not going to be a reality. We can't just continue filling our time with that. But we need to find those little moments of joy in a normal day.
And there's so many different things that you could be doing. It could be as simple as just making arrangements to meet friends for coffee. It could be that you join local groups like the U3A, things like photography groups, or getting out with your camera or your phone to just find those little bits of interest. It's autumn at the moment and the colours in the trees are just beautiful. Just looking out of our window now, just to go out and spend half an hour trying to capture that in photography, for me, would be a way of creating some memories that are lasting as well with the photos. So here's a really powerful question that we could all ask ourselves every evening. What have I done today that will create a memory dividend? What stood out for me in the day that will make me feel like I've achieved something time-wise in that day? So for us, looking back to yesterday, we went out into the Dales. It was really, really foggy. We could hardly see what was in front of us, but that made it memorable in itself. Just the trees looming and appearing out of nowhere. It was just a memory that we will have quite clearly in our minds for quite a while.
So if we go back to one of the main reasons why lots of us chose to retire, to live a fulfilled life, not just necessarily a longer life, then we've just got to every day look for ways to help our brains hook into that memory trail and give us memorable moments throughout each and every day, so that we, in our early retired life, have a fulfilled and full early retired life rather than just more of the same.
Leading a fulfilled life means you've got lots of varied experiences that you can later just put into your memory bank as memorable experiences.
So one of the things that we've definitely taken away from this Chris Williamson theory on slowing down time is that in our early retirement, we probably need to be a little bit more open to saying yes to a few more things that are interesting, new, or intense experiences. And then
we also need to get better at saying no to things that are perhaps a little bit more mundane and boring, and us just doing what we do because that's what we do.
And that's going to be a really difficult one for me in particular, because throughout my entire working life and throughout my retirement so far, I love a good routine, but I know that routine is not going to help me lay down those memory dividends. So I've perhaps got to break that up a little bit.
I think we've got much better at it.
Oh, I think we've got better at it. It doesn't get easier, but I think we've done better at it. What we'd love to know is what you are going to do next week to break up perhaps your routine, or what thing you are planning to do that is memorable next week. It would be really good to share this positivity in the comments. So please feel free to comment in the comments below and let us know what your plans are.
So that's it from us for this week. It's been a little bit different maybe to some of our normal early retired chats. It was something that really resonated with us when we heard the podcast that Chris Williamson brought out. Perhaps you might want to catch up on it yourself. But yeah, that's it from this week. Bye.
Bye-bye.